हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गायै नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। भवानी शङ्करो वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धिर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम् अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय 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 ओम नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। So Bhagwan is concluding his teachings here. So he gives the essence of the teaching in this 18th chapter. So first we should follow the path of Karma Yoga, gain knowledge and gain that abidance in our own self to become free of this samsara. Karma Yoga is dedicating all our actions to Ishvara. That itself is bhakti. So with full love, we dedicate our actions to Ishvara, and by His grace, we gain that knowledge of the self and come to realize the self in me is self in all. We develop that supreme love for Ishvara and surrender to Him completely and become one with Him. So Bhagavan says that this teaching of mine, if you don't listen and don't accept and come under the sway of your own ahankar, then you will get destroyed only. Ata chet tvam ahankarat na shroshyasi vinakshasi. And because of this ahankar, if you decide not to fight, he is talking to Arjuna, and Arjuna's duty as a Kshatriya is to fight this war to protect dharma. So Bhagavan tells him that yad ahankaram ashritya na yotsyeti manyasi. If you decide not to, if you think not to fight, that also will not be helpful. It will be your decision will be in vain, because your prakriti will force you into these activities. Prakritim tvam niyokshati. Because we are born with certain prakriti, certain proportion of the gunas, and we can't escape these gunas. The gunas propel us into different activities. So, with the help of our shastras, we have to use the gunas to take us towards our supreme goal. Otherwise, our life will not have any directions and we will perish. So Bhagavan says your decision of not fighting this war is not proper. Further, he says, verse number 60, Svabhavajena kaunteya nibaddhasvena karmana kartum nechasi mohat karishyasya vashopi tat. Bhagavan says ki he kaunteya, O dear Arjuna, son of Kunti, kis svabhavajena nibaddha, you are bound now, you are bound by your svabhav. Svabhav is the past samskar, and based on those past samskar, we are born with certain proportions of these gunas which determine our activities in this life. So all of us are bound by that is called svabhav, and all of us are bound by our svabhav. So taking into account the Swabhav, the Shastras guide us, because we can't go against our Swabhav, or we can't leave it loose. Then we will not be able to reach our destination. We have to control and work within our Swabhav to reach our destination. If you want to fly a kite in the sky, you have to see how the wind is, in which direction it is flowing, what is its strength, and the type of kite you want to fly, the thread which is holding the kite. All these factors we should take into account and handle them efficiently so that you can fly the kite properly. So there are certain conditions which we can't change. Similarly, we are born with a particular Swabhav which we can't change, but we should work in tune with the Swabhav to reach our destination. So Arjuna, Bhagavan tells Arjuna, कि स्वभावजेन निबद्धः स्वेन कर्मणा. You are bound by your karmas which are in tune with your Swabhav. So you are bound by your Swabhav which expresses as your karmas. So you are bound. Nibaddha. And what is Arjuna's Swabhav? So since Arjuna was born as a Kshatriya, so Kshatriyas are predominantly that Rajogun is there, and it is backed by Sattvagun and then little bit of Tamogun. So based on these gunas, he has got his own Swabhav, which are the fundamental Swabhav is the Shaurya. We had seen the Shauryam, Tejo, Dhritirdakshyam, Yuddhe cha api apalayanam, Danam Ishvara Bhavascha, Kshatra Karma Swabhavajam. The Kshatriya Karma of bravery, the Teja, that perseverance, alertness, not running away from a battlefield, having that great generosity, leadership quality. So all this is inborn Swabhav. And these are all positive Swabhav which are helpful for the individual as well as helpful for the society. But if this Swabhav is not handled properly, then it can get contaminated and can be very harmful to the individual as well as the society. So Bhagavan tells Arjuna that you are bound by your Swabhav. Swabhavajena kaunteya nibaddha svena karmana. By your karmas and by your Swabhav, you are bound. Therefore, if you decide something different, kartum nechyasi yanmohat, if you decide that I will not fight this war, or I will do something else, I will do something different, and this decision if you are taking based on your confusion, mohat, out of confusion, out of delusion, out of not understanding your own Swabhav, out of not understanding what is called dharma, out of not understanding what is the main purpose of our life, what is the role of our duties in this world. All this guidance is given to us by the Shastras, but if one doesn't know or is thoroughly confused and deluded, and out of that delusion, if you decide not to perform your duties, Bhagavan says it will not help you. Instead of what will happen is karishyasi avashopi tat. You will have to do those activities forcefully. You will be forced by the gunas to act, because your decision of not performing this karma will not change your gunas, will not create any difference as far as the gunas are concerned. So gunas will need that expression, and the gunas will force that expression through you. So in order to understand this, let us take an example. And the best example is of tamogun. Suppose you are driving a car and you are going long distance, you are driving long distance. So the journey might take maybe 1 or 2 days to reach your destination, because it's a far off place. So if you are driving, you need to take a break in between. If you are driving for a few hours, then take a little break, have a cup of tea or something, then again you drive. And if you are driving whole day, you will be tired by the evening, so you will need to take a rest, go to sleep, become fresh, and then continue your driving. But if a person says, no, I will not sleep, I will not rest, I have to drive, I will continue driving, then what will happen? The tamogun will not disappear. The tamogun will start expressing while you are driving. So if it is not given full chance to go to sleep, then the tamogun will start expressing in lethargy, in lack of alertness, in inadvertence, in taking chances, and also one might doze off, might go to sleep unawarefully, because the tamogun will express. See, even in modern times, a lot of these people, especially youngsters and all, they don't sleep properly at night, busy with something or other on their phone, chatting or doing some work, not sleeping properly. So what happens? The tamogun is not getting its full expression. So next day, during the day, when the person has to do his work, go around, then the tamogun will express during that time. If one doesn't go to sleep completely, then it will express in the form of lethargy, in the form of laziness. And that laziness not only will get expressed in the body, but also in our mind. Will be lazy to think, will not be alert, will not pay attention. Students, when they don't sleep properly, when they go to school or college, then they cannot pay attention to the studies there properly, because the tamogun will be there objecting, expressing all times. So if this is true for Tamogun, same thing is true for Rajogun and Sattvagun also. So as a Kshatriya, Arjuna had to express his Rajogun, his Kshatriya qualities in a positive way. Bhagwan had said in the second chapter also that it is a great opportunity for you. This dharmic war has come. It's a great opportunity for you to express your Kshatriya gunas. It will be beneficial for you spiritually also and socially also, and also it will be a dharmic thing for you to do. So kartum nechyasi yan mohat, but if you decide to go against it, then that will not, then your prakriti will force you. Avashopitat, you will be doing something helplessly. And if you do something helplessly, that may not come out proper. That may not come out in the most beautiful way. Therefore, it is very important that we understand ourselves properly, understand our svabhav properly, and make a right choice. We should work by taking right choice, by taking right decision. We should not let work control our life, but we should control the work. We should become master of our work. We should not become slave to our svabhav. We should become master of our svabhav. That will be more beneficial for us. So Bhagavan says here, Arjuna, कि you are bound by your svabhav, and even if you decide not to act, not to fight, your prakriti will force you. And in which direction and how it will force, we don't know. Therefore, you listen properly, understand, make a right decision, and work accordingly. So how does this prakriti force us? Who is in charge of this prakriti? How prakriti forces? We have seen in the third chapter also, Bhagavan has said that all karmas are expression of the prakriti only. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimodhatma karta ahamiti manyate. That all karmas are done by the prakriti, by the gunas of prakriti. A person ignorant with ahankar thinks that Atma is the doer, but that Atma is not the doer. The Prakriti is the doer. All actions happen in Prakriti. So how does it happen? And what is this role of this Prakriti? So that Bhagavan now explains in the next verse, very important verse number 61. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddesharjuna tishtati bhramayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. Bhagavan says that Ishvara is residing in the heart of all beings. This Prakriti belongs to Ishvara. Prakriti is the Shakti of Ishvara. Prakriti is also called Maya, is the Shakti of Ishvara. And all activities happen, it is happening through this Prakriti alone. So Ishvara sarva bhutanam riddesharjuna tishtati. Ishvara reside in the heart of all beings, hey Arjuna. And residing there, what does he do? Brahmayan sarvabhutani. He moves, he activates all beings, he makes all being work. How? Yantrarudhani mayaya. Like a doll, like a mechanical doll. Or like a puppet. Similarly, Ishvara, residing in the heart of all beings, make everyone work, make everyone run around in this world. Now this shloka has to be understood properly. First, let us try to understand Ishvara residing in the heart of all beings. This we have seen before also. What does it mean, Ishvara is residing in the heart of all beings? As what? He is residing in us as the Kshetrajna. Kshetrajnam chapi mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Bhagavan says, I am the Kshetrajna in all the beings. So, Bhagavan is within us as the Kshetrajna. Who is the Kshetrajna? That Shushupta Atma. That Atma which is separate from the Stula Sharir and the Sukshma Sharir. Which is experienced in our deep sleep without the Stula Sharir and Sukshma Sharir. But in the waking and dream, we experience it along with the upadhis. So if you devoid of that upadhis, that Atma is Ishvara only. So Ishvara alone reside in us as our own innermost self, which we experience. This is a very important and thing which we have to remember, because we tend to forget this. When people ask us, or when we think of where is God, we will try to see Him elsewhere. We try to see Ishvara up in the sky or far away. Ishvara is not far away. He is in our own heart. Heart is our antakarana. In that mana buddhi chitta hankar, where we experience mana buddhi chitta hankar, that is called heart. In that only that Ishvara resides as our own self. So our own self and Ishvara are not different. They are same. As I had given example, the space in this pot and the space everywhere is same. So this pot is there, is like our body, and this is like our Sukshma Sharir, but the space is that Antaratma, the Kshetrajna. But this Kshetrajna, this space inside and space outside is one only. So that space everywhere, which is there present in all the pots, is what is called Ishvara, is like Ishvara. So if you ask that space, the space will say, I am residing in you, in your very heart. So Ishvara sarva bhutanam riddeshe arjuna tishtati. And this Prakriti is Ishvara Shakti. Through this Prakriti only, Ishvara created this whole world. This Prakriti is also called Maya. Through this Ishvara alone expresses as this world and expresses as all the beings. See, if you look at space, if we take the example of space, from space only air is born. From air the fire is born. From fire the water is born. From water the matter is born. So space, from space only is born air. From that air only is born heat, that is fire. And from that heat only is born moisture, that's water. And from that moisture is only born solid. So this pot is born from space. So from that power of that space only, all the pots are born. And when the pots are born, the pot space is also born. We say pot space is also born. Though the pot space is really not born, it is unborn. But with the birth of the pot, we also start seeing the pot space. So this space, all round space, is like Ishvara or Brahma. From that Brahma only, this whole world has come into existence, and all the beings have come into existence. Beings means all the bodies of all beings. And when the bodies are born, we say the beings are born. For example, in the beginning, Hiranyagarbha, he is the total buddhi and the total mana and total ahankar was born, and with the birth of the mana, buddhi, ahankar, we say Hiranyagarbha is born. But really speaking, Hiranyagarbha is unborn. The essence of Hiranyagarbha is that Brahma only. So with the birth of this body, with the birth of this mind, I say I am born. And identifying with this body, mind, I say I am working, I am knowing, I am enjoying. So that I is really Ishvara. So Ishvara says, I am residing in the heart of all beings as their very self. And what is the body? What is the body made up of? What is the Indriyas and the Mana, Buddhi made up of? All of them are made up of the Prakriti. So who is handling the Prakriti, individual as well as the total Prakriti? That is also handled by Ishvara alone. So Ishvara alone is handling the Prakriti. But based on the individual desires, the individual avidya, the Prakriti is handled differently in different bodies. So the expression of Prakriti in different bodies are different because of the difference of the desires, the samskars in the antakarana of all these bodies. So Ishvara is as though moving all these jivas like a what you call, like a Katputli. He is making everyone move, everyone run. As though, here Shankaracharya ji in his commentary, he writes कि यंत्राणि आरूढ़ानि अधिष्ठानि इव इति इव शब्दः अत्र द्रष्टव्यः. In this shloka, we have to understand the word eva. We have to include the word eva. Eva means as though. As though Ishvara is handling, is doing all this. But Ishvara is really not doing, his Prakriti is doing. And his Prakriti also is not doing independently. Prakriti is doing based on our samskar. So as per our samskar, the Prakriti is making everything act. Prakriti is making all actions happen as per the samskar of the individuals. So Ishvara sarva bhutanam riddeshe arjuna tishtati bhramayan sarva bhutani yantra arudhani mayaya. Like a mechanical doll. So that doll is there, and we wind it. It has got this power inside, and then we keep that doll, it starts moving. So what is that force which is making the doll move? That winding which we do. Or sometimes we have a battery inside that doll. So with the help of that battery, the power is given to that doll, and it is making the doll move. So what is making the doll move? That power, that force. But what is giving direction to that power? Our samskar, our desires, our ignorance. But we don't have control over the Prakriti. We have certain control over our desires, but we don't have control over Prakriti. So as per our desire, the Prakriti will work. So if we want to really benefit and reach our destination, then we have to handle our desire accordingly, in tune with Prakriti, so that we can reach our destination. So Ishvara sarva bhutanam riddeshe arjuna tishtati. In a simple way, if you have to say, Ishvara is residing in the heart of all beings and making everyone work, making everyone move according to force by his Prakriti. Brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. So if we, and this itself is our samsara, we are bound by our desires and forced by this Prakriti to live in this world in different ways, tossed hither and thither, experiencing the various types of joys and sorrows and sufferings, not only in this world but in other worlds also. So what is the way out? What is the way out? That is now said in the next verse. Bhagavan says, if you want to come out of this samsara, if you want to become free of all your sufferings, if you want to become free of the bondage of your own swabhav, which is under the influence of your gunas also, then you do this. What? He says, Tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Bhagavan says that Ishvara, Here Bhagwan is himself Ishvara only, but he is objectively talking about it. Bhagwan says that Ishvara who is present in the heart of all beings and who is making everyone work according to his Prakriti, that Ishvara himself is free from the bondage of this Prakriti. That Ishvara is free from avidya. Ishvara is not bound to this samsara. Ishvara appears to be doing but really is not doing anything. Ishvara appears to be working but really is not working. When our attention is only on the upadhis, we think that Ishvara is doing. But Ishvara is not a doer. He appears to be doing but he is not a doer. We have seen in the 4th chapter also Bhagavan says, Tasya kartaram apimam vidhi akartaram avyayam. Though I appear to be the doer of all actions and creator of this world, but really speaking, I am not the doer. Means from the standpoint of upadhis, when we look, it appears as though Ishvara is the doer. But when we come to understand the Swarupa of Ishvara, we come to know that really he is not a doer. And this we will understand by looking at our own self, that Ishvara who is residing in our own heart. If we pay attention to our own self, we will be able to understand this. Am I the doer of actions? I am not a doer of actions. When I am alone in my deep sleep, I don't do any activity of the body. I don't do any activity of the senses. I don't do any activity of the mind, the intellect, because I am totally different from all this. I have no connection with all this. See, it's just like space. Space is not doing any activity. But all activity is happening in space and by the powers of the space. But if you just look at space in itself, it is not doing anything. Similarly, that Ishvara, who is Brahma, is not doing anything. Appears to be doing due to that Prakriti. So that same Brahma, that Ishvara is in our heart, as that self, is not doing anything. But when we are awake, we think, when the body is moving, we think we are moving. When the indriyas are acting, we think we are acting. When the mind is feeling, we feel we are feeling. When the intellect is thinking, we say that we are thinking. But that Atma is not doing anything. He is beyond the sway of this Prakriti. He is free. So what should we do? We have to surrender to this Atma, this Ishvara. We have to drop our identification with our body, our mind, our senses, and surrender to that Ishvara. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata. He Bharata, he Arjuna. Tam eva sharanam gaccha. Surrender to that Ishvara alone. Surrender means drop all your identification and just be one with your own innermost self. Give up all your false connection with the body, mind, senses, world, and just be with yourself as you are. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena. Sarva bhavena sarvatmana. With all your attitude, totally relying on yourself. Just surrender to your own innermost self, surrender to that Ishvara. So, tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata. Just as I had given example, like ornaments surrendering to gold. See, all vyavahar is happening in the ornaments. But in gold there is no vyavahar. But when one thinks that I am the ornament, then I feel all the actions are happening in me. But when I surrender to gold, I come to know that everything is gold only. There is nothing other than gold. See, when our attention is on the pot, we talk about the shape, we talk about its utility. We can keep something in the pot. And the pot also undergoes change. The pot also can be broken. But what about the clay? Can you break the clay? Clay cannot be broken. Even when the pot breaks, the clay remains unchanged. Clay is clay even before the pot was made. Clay is clay when the pot is existing, and clay will remain when the pot gets destroyed. No, nothing happens to clay. But everything seems to be happening to the pot. But pot is not different from clay. Clay is different from the pot. There is something in the pot which means clay is present in the pot, but pot is not present in the clay. The nature, the characteristic of the pot is not in the clay. Similarly, the body, the mind, the intellect, with respect to them, when I see myself performing activity, experiencing joys and sorrows, etc. But when I look at myself within my Swarupa, when I look at that Ishvara as myself within, there is no action happening there. There is no bondage of any kind. There is no joy or sorrow. There is no pain. There is no samsara. So if we want to become free of samsara, we just have to surrender to that Ishvara within. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata. This sharanagati is the ultimate. It is easy also, and it is difficult also. It is difficult when we have this ahankar strong, because ahankar will prevent us from surrendering to our own self. Our own false identification prevents us from surrendering to that innermost self, that Ishvara within. So with constant practice and with that supreme love, that para bhakti, when we develop that para bhakti, then Sharanagati becomes sahaj. Para bhakti is that supreme love for Ishvara. Then we surrender ourselves to Ishvara. See, in bhakti, there are these 9 steps mentioned. कि श्रवणम कीर्तनम विष्णु स्मरणम पादसेवनम अर्चनम वंदनम दास्यम सख्यम आत्मनिवेदनम. Beginning from Shravanam, it goes up to Atmanivedanam. That Atmanivedanam is called Sharanagati. To surrender completely to our own self, which is Ishvara. To surrender to Ishvara means let Ishvara alone be. Shift our attention from everything else to that Ishvara alone. So tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata. With all our attitude, with all love, with all trust, with all faith, one surrenders to one's own Supreme Self. Then what will happen? Tat prasadat, by the prasad means by the blessings, by the kripa of that Ishvara. Tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. One will attain supreme peace. All disturbance, ashanti is there in the field of this rupa only. All ashanti is there in the pot, and all supreme shanti is there in the clay. See, through this surrender, the pot will not disappear, but I will remain as clay. When I look, I will see only myself, nothing else. Now I see Dvaita because of this identification with the body, the mind, and looking from a limited standpoint, looking from the standpoint of ahankar. But when that ahankar is dissolved in that supreme self, then there is nothing but the self only. One will experience supreme peace. So tat prasadat param shantim, eternal supreme peace one will attain, and sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. What is that peace? Peace of our own self. We will attain our own self, the eternal abode. We will attain our own eternal abode. Shashvatam sthanam prapsyasi. This sthan is nothing but our own supreme self. Param uparatim sthanam cha mama vishnoho paramam padam avapsyasi. Shashvatam nityam. Shashvat means that eternal, nitya. See, for example, what happens when we go to sleep? We give up, we drop our identification with our waking and dream, and we sleep. And when we are asleep, we are totally cut off from the waking and the dream world, and we are totally cut off from all sorrow, all suffering. There is no suffering in deep sleep. But it is temporary. Again we wake up because our avidya is not eliminated. So Sharanagati is to wakefully, awarefully drop the identification with our body, mind, intellect, world, and just surrender to our own innermost self. Surrender to that Ishvara who is residing in our own self. So tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim stanam prapsyasi shashvatam. So this is the very sar. See, ultimately we have to surrender to that Ishvara within. So all our sadhana, whatever we do, it should be directed ultimately to achieve this Sharanagati. So if we develop that param bhakti, supreme devotion, we attain this Sharanagati. When we gain that jnana nishtha, we attain this Sharanagati. When we practice nididhyasan, we attain this Sharanagati. When our chitta becomes absolutely pure, through karma yoga, through upasana, through bhakti, we will attain the Sharanagati. And once we attain Sharanagati, we will become free. With this Sharanagati, the world will not disappear, because world is our own self. Everything is our own self. We will recognize the entire creation as our own self. Then there will not be any division of any kind. Sarvam khalvidam brahma neha nanasti kinchana. There will not be any separation of any kind. Now we experience all dvaita, all separation, sorrow, pain, because we are seated in ahankar. But when we shift ourselves from this ahankar to our own real self, there will be a total change, transformation. So this jump from ahankar to our real self is what we had talked before as the paradigm shift. From the unreal to the real, from the darkness to light, from mortality to immortality. This is the prarthana, this is the prayer which is given in our Shastra. We pray to that Ishvara, please take me from the false to that which is supremely real. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So please contemplate on these verses and understand them and implement them in your life. Hari Om. We shall meet again tomorrow. Till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, listen to this pravachan again, think about it, understand it, and surrender to that Ishvara. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim stanam prapsyasi shashvatam. And we shall meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. बोलिए सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम.